Good afternoon, everyone. This is Kero Riri Paddle, and today we are sitting down with Emperiam. How are you?
I'm not too bad, considering the economy and whatnot.
Oh yeah, the economy is shit, but at least we're happy, right?
Yeah, we find ways to be happy.
Awesome, cool, cool. So today I want to talk a little bit about the cosplay community in Toronto and in Canada. If you can tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and we can get the show on the road, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. So I am Imperium. I'm a content creator, cosplayer, Twitch streamer, human being that does things on the internet. I've been around the cosplay community for a couple of years now. I started cosplay or started taking cosplay more seriously in around like 2013, kind of when I moved to the city. And then I found out conventions were a thing, and I was like just like blown away that there were all of these nerds that loved all the same stuff that I did. So I was like head over heels in love with the community as soon as I could be in it. And I've just kind of been there, in and out, doing random things within it. But now, since conventions aren't really a thing, it's hard to have that community kind of outreach. So I feel like I've kind of isolated myself a little bit from the community in lockdown and during 2020 and whatnot. But I've been still making content, so it's not that bad, I guess.
One of the positives of working within like the cosplay community is that like even if you can't go in person or you can't do personal shoots, at least you have your social media content, which is actually how I discovered you.
Oh yeah, what was the first thing you saw on my social media?
I believe it was Raven.
Really? That's so strange. Okay.
Yeah, I was going through like a big kick because I used to cosplay a lot when I was younger. Nothing as intense or as good as what you do, but I always enjoyed like just trying to be my favorite character and going out and seeing 10 other people dressed so much better than me. but
Oh.
when I came across your Raven, I love Teen Titans. That was one of my favorite comic book series growing up, and Raven and Starfire they're like my waifus. So
Yes.
it was
Yes.
really awesome to come across your content, and then from there I was just really enamored with your work.
Oh, that's so nice. That's so nice to hear. Thank you. Because half the time when I make things, I'm like, nobody's gonna like this. What's the point? Because you get kind of caught up in the algorithms and whatnot, but it's just you gotta let that shit go a little bit.
I agree. I agree. So tell us, how did you discover cosplay, and what was your first forays into cosplay like?
So I think I was in first year university here, and I came across Fan Expo, which is like one of Toronto's biggest events. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to go to this thing, and I need to like make cosplay for it. So obviously, my first cosplay was absolutely terrible. I wanted to be shiny Ninetales. So for anyone who doesn't know, it's like a instead of being the beige, she's gray, and then the tips of her tails are blue. So without having any sewing knowledge or anything whatsoever, I was like, I'm gonna hand sew nine tails and stick it to my back and see how it works. It was
Wow.
I was a lot more ambitious back then.
Did you make it through all nine tails?
I did, and they were so bad because they didn't have any like structure in them. I basically just sewed them and then stuffed them, and then I don't even know how I fastened them on the back. I honestly think that I used Velcro, and then once I realized that the Velcro didn't work, I tried to like sew on through the Velcro. Like it was the worst job ever, but it was cute because I learned so many skills like right off the bat, which was hilarious. But the final product was cute enough to take pictures of. I wish I still had them. I would show you, but yeah, you kind of just have to go through that as a cosplayer. Like you have to just make the grossest, shittiest cosplays and then kind of work your way up from there, finding out how to do new skills and techniques. And just I'm constantly learning things, which is why one of the reasons why I love it so much.
That's nice to hear, but you probably could have done Vulpix, and that may have been a little easier.
I know. I actually had a friend who was going to do Vulpix and I was going to do Ninetales, and then she bailed. So I was like, all right, here we go.
All right, all right. It's funny you say that. One time I lazily went as Chikorita, and that kind of started my
Oh,
love affair with Chikorita.
that's so cute. Did you make like a little hat or something? Like how was it? How was it done?
Uh, I don't even. I have a similar hat to it. It was like one of those like hacky sack sort of toques, the ones you just put, and like I stuffed it, and it was the same color as Chikorita, and I had a shirt that just said Chikorita.
Oh my gosh,
I had like
amazing.
the choker thing with the little spikes. People were
Uh,
like, "Why are you dressed up as Bud?" And I'm like, "Oh." And I wasn't a stoner yet, so for me, it's like I'm not weed. I'm Chikorita.
yeah, read the shirt, man. Come on.
Yeah, it probably doesn't help. I spelled Chikorita wrong, but whatever.
You know what? Adds character.
Yes, yes, there you go. It adds character. Let's justify all of our first bad cosplays.
Absolutely, absolutely. I will stand by that. I'll fight to the death for it.
Awesome, thank you. I'm glad you're in my corner. So when you first started cosplaying, what conventions or events did you go to?
The first one is definitely Fan Expo, and then I think Comic Con. Um, I think that's the only ones in Toronto. And then once I did a couple of Fan Expos and Comic Cons, I was like, you know what? I want to do one of the international conventions. So a friend group and I got together and we drove to, I think it's Washington, wherever KatsuCon is. I'm pretty sure it's in DC. And that, like, once I went to KatsuCon, like, that kind of changed my whole view and perspective on conventions and what a convention could be. Because if you've ever been to the Toronto conventions, they do their best, you know, not knocking them at all,
They try their
but
best, yeah.
they do their best. I mean, they take all your money from you. But anyways, KatsuCon is just so different because of the location. It's in this hotel, but the hotel has this, like, it's enclosed by this basically glass dome, and inside the dome they've got their own, like, creek running through it. There's, like, tons of plants, there's a fountain. So, you know, little Emily going into this convention and, like, seeing the grade and quality of the cosplays that I was seeing there, because, like, when you go to KatsuCon, people, like, brought their A game. I had no idea. I just came in, like, a onesie, I'm pretty sure. But just, like, seeing how the cons compared from, like, the US cons to the Canadian cons, it was like, dang, like, we don't do it as hard as they do. So that's probably one of my, like, most fond memories, is going to KatsuCon. It's just like there's just this magic about it that everyone needs to experience when, you know, all of this is over.
It's funny you say that. I've only ever been to conventions in Canada, Montreal,
Oh yeah.
and I need to go to a U.S. convention. My thinking was that, oh, it's okay. I'll always have time to go to Comic Con in the States, or, like, I'll be able to, like, go to that New York convention, this convention in Indiana. They have so many conventions in Indiana for some reason. But
Yeah.
no, I really messed up because I haven't been to a convention in well over a year now.
Well,
So
I'm sure that they'll definitely make a comeback because they need to get their income and revenue back for
yeah.
sure.
It, when people say it's going to be the Roaring Twenties, I believe that every single community will be going crazy. There's going to be events for, like, every day, every weekend. There's going to be
Oh
something.
yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. And, like, I'm going to be dressing up every day just going to the grocery store, because why not?
Oh, why not?
Why not? I've been in track pants and sweaters for months on end. Like, let me just wear a little bit of platforms and, I don't know, some shiny top or something.
Oh no, I feel you on that, definitely. So do you prefer cosplaying solo, or do you like doing it in groups or as collectives?
It's definitely more impactful when you can get a whole group together. The only problem with doing a group cosplay is it's a lot like herding cats. So you have to kind of find really reliable people that you know, won't flake or bail on you or just decide not to make the costume. So there's a lot of communication that's involved in getting a group cosplay together, and sometimes it's just better to do it yourself. You know, if you can't get it done right, then just do it yourself is kind of my motto a little bit. And when you do group cosplays, again, like, it's like herding cats, but there's so many people that you kind of have to look out for, and in photos especially, like, it's really tough to get the one thing that your brain envisions, like, out together. But yeah, I don't know. I prefer doing it alone just because that's what I'm used to, and I know if something goes wrong, it's my fault. But group cosplays are always fun. I've been a part of many group cosplays, and they always, like, they're once you do them, it's really, I'm trying to find the word. Sorry, it's hard to make sentences today. Good. I can't think of an adjective other than good. That's terrible.
Yeah.
But no, when you get the pictures back, it's like, oh, I'm glad I did it. You know, it was worth doing. It looks amazing. But yeah, it really depends on how much struggle you want to go through to get a thing done, how much effort you're willing to put into it.
Yeah, no, it's like seeing your kid who you try so hard to make sure they do well in school, or make sure that you wake up at 7 a.m. to drive them to practice, and you do all of this stuff, and you finally see them come in third place, and you're okay with that. You're pretty happy with third place. You know, you can't really ask for much
Yeah,
more.
exactly. E for effort, right?
Yeah, E for effort. Oh, so when you started with cosplay, did you have any viewpoints on buying a ready-made outfit or putting together your own? Like, I see that you obviously are good at designing your own and like doing your own
Mm-hmm.
makeup, but is this something that you came into over time, or did you have any biases prior to that, or do you kind of embrace every single aspect of cosplay?
I embrace every single aspect of cosplay because when you boil it down, we're all literally just putting on clothes that make us look like fictional characters. Like, I really can't stand the elitism that being in the cosplay community can have, like how people think it's better if you make your cosplays over if you buy them, because like not everybody has the same amount of skill level, not everybody has the same amount of money or time. Like, you can't just judge someone unless you're at an actual cosplay competition. Like, there's no point in judging a cosplay. Like, people are literally doing this to escape from reality for a little bit, to transform into something else. It's just, that's what makes cosplay so great, is it's so, encapsulating of all of these little parts of things, of just putting a costume on. Like, that's, well, I don't know why people fight about it. I don't know why it's an actual thing that people say, but I embrace it all.
That's good to hear. Like from what I've encountered, I've never been a serious cosplayer, but I've always been someone who enjoys the art form and likes participating once in a while. From what I've heard from others, and tell me if you agree or not, they feel that if you don't invest time in crafting your own cosplay, then it's like you're taking the easy way out, because you should show that effort as you're bonding with the character, which means that if you're not pricking your fingers, then you don't actually love that character. If you're not spending hours and hours trying to get like the right makeup or the right wig, and if you're not designing and cutting your own wig, it means that you don't care. You're just looking for whatever's the trendy character of the month and you're running with it. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I can kind of understand their perspective of being very involved with the craft. But I don't know.
Like, I get it. I can see where they're coming from, but at the same time, I definitely don't agree with it, because if you're fighting over this bond of a fictional character that you did not create, you did not draw, you did not, unless it's an original character, that's a totally different ballgame. But no, there's always like this weird unspoken like competition with cosplayers. Like, one needs to be like the best at something, or we're I don't even know what it is that everyone's trying to get. Maybe it's like their followers, maybe they're trying to just grow their audience or something, but there's always this thing with cosplayers that there's this competition, and like, oh, you didn't try hard enough, or oh, you didn't do this, or oh, you forgot the weapon. Or it's like, you know what, this is a hobby for a lot of people. Like, this isn't everybody's job, and there shouldn't be this, gatekeeping to what is good cosplay and what is not good cosplay. Like, people are literally just trying to have fun and, dress up a little. So I don't agree with kind of any of that bullshit. I kind of squash it as soon as I see it. Not for me. Just do whatever you want, as long as it's not hurting anyone.
You have a very interesting attitude towards cosplay, and I agree with you. Like, I like 95% agree with you. I don't like gatekeeping in any sort of community, especially in today's day and age.
Hmm.
I feel that for the gatekeepers, a lot of them feel that, like, I don't know how far back you go with your history of cosplay, but I remember there was an era of cosplay where it was traditionally like the uncool kids, quote unquote, or like the longtime fans that would do the cosplay. And now, like with gaming and anime and so many other of these industries becoming so mainstream, it's a matter of like now you have people who aren't nerds, people who do know how to dress themselves appropriately, people who come from makeup backgrounds or design backgrounds, and they can immediately come onto the scene with quality cosplay. Personally, I think that the cosplay today is better than it has ever been, and like the quality of work that you see is like it's leaps and bounds. Like if you watch cosplay from 2005 and you watch cosplay from like last year, it doesn't compare.
No, they have like fog machines and like LED lights programmed in their shit now. Like I remember seeing it in like cosplay forums, and like it's, yeah, like you said, leaps and bounds from what it is. And that's amazing. Like people are adding so many of their own skill sets or what they're good at into the cosplay, which is just, it's lovely.
Exactly. I think a piece of it is jealousy. A lot of those, when they were starting off, they kind of just looked at the surroundings and they said, okay, if this is what I have to do, okay, I'll just do a little bit more than that. No, if this is what you're doing, cosplay should be something where you're putting so much effort into it. Like, it's a hobby. You don't have to, like, break your bones for it, but also it is about trying to put the best out there.
Yes, I mean, like I said, that stuff kind of irks me a little bit because say if it's like a hobby, say it's like knitting, right? Like, do you think the knitting community is really worried about if you can knit better than, you know, your neighbor or whatever? Like if you knit a fucking massive blanket, but you can only knit a hat, like that sounds so silly when you put it that way, right? I think it's the same with cosplay. Like there's so much competition, and like people are at so many different skill levels and have so many different you know, talents that it's just like, if you want to be good at something, then practice. Like it doesn't come like this. I had to learn makeup. I had to learn, I mean, I'm still learning how to do wigs. We just hide that in Photoshop. But yeah, you just, if you want to learn something, then just do it. You know, practice. That's
I'm
it.
gonna have to ask my auntie about your knitting remark. And she takes that pretty seriously. Like I get a new sweater every year, and she's been improving her craft leaps and bounds.
I'm so jealous. That sounds so nice.
Trust me, if I had it on right now, you'd be so caught up in it. It looks really good. Her patchwork is incredible.
Yeah, exactly. But do you think she would like gatekeep other knitters?
No, that's the thing. She wouldn't. In fact, I think she would love the fact that so many people are getting involved with it, because there was a point in time when cosplay wasn't growing. If anyone
Yeah.
wants to historically go back and look at forums, as you were saying, or early subreddits, cosplay didn't seem dead, but it plateaued for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And like this whole thing with popularity and people being, you know, angry that it's getting mainstream or that there's these like fake cosplayers or whatever. It's like when is the point where we will all, you know, be happy that our thing is becoming mainstream? Like now we can buy shit like this at Old Navy because it's mainstream. Like there's nothing bad about something becoming mainstream, you know? It's like how we hate on everything that teenage girls like no matter what. Like teenage girls can't like anything, but once, you know, someone gets it and looks at it and actually reviews it, it's like, oh, this isn't actually half bad. Like just let it be mainstream. It's okay. It benefits us. Promise.
Again, like I think it's that mentality. People who didn't try hard enough in the beginning, or they didn't get their roses earlier on, feel that everyone else has to struggle with them, not knowing that they were the pioneers that laid down the track work for other people to enjoy whatever it is that the people of today are enjoying. Teenage girls, they set the tone for
They
culture.
do.
Like, I support everything they love.
Exactly. Like that's why honestly, like Twilight is questionable, but I always think about it in like pop punk. Like if you listen to pop punk at all and the resurgence of Machine Gun Kelly and 5 Seconds of Summer, you know, I don't care what anyone says, pop punk is still alive because teenage girls, when they like it, they will keep it alive. Like they put everything to keep it alive, you know? Teenage girls are very powerful.
They are. They run the world. The next president should be like a conglomerate of teenage girls. I think America would be in a better place.
America would definitely be in a different place.
Everyone would have to do K-pop dances. I'm
Ah,
okay with that.
I'm okay with that too.
You mentioned Machine Gun Kelly and 5 Seconds of Summer. Tell us quickly, what other music do you like?
I'm honestly like, my Spotify library is always really fun to put on shuffle because you'll get like I don't know, like industrial trance, and then you'll get like 90s grunge rock, and then you'll get dab rock, which I found a playlist today. Apparently, Torn by Natalie Imbruglia is considered dab rock now.
I feel old. Wow.
I feel old too. I was like, I'm not even 30 yet, but damn, these wrinkles. But yeah, I kind of listen to a little bit of everything. I'm not the biggest country fan, but like I appreciate what it does for music. Yeah, it's kind of it. I'm mostly a pop punk emo person. I haven't grown out of the phase. Sorry, mom. It's just who I am.
Oh wow, it's crazy because I remember when all of these dad rock bands were coming out. Like I remember Red Hot Chili Peppers when they broke big. I remember Smashing Pumpkins. I remember Smashing Pumpkins when they went through their first electronic phase. I remember Soundgarden. I remember Sublime. I remember Alice in Chains. I remember even like the Strokes. People are starting to call Strokes like dad rock, and I'm like, okay, hold on,
What?
it's not that old, guys. Please,
Give it a
please.
second, please. Yeah.
Give me some more time. Like my back is aching, but I know I'm not that old. Time flies.
Too fast. It's way too fast.
When you started with cosplay, did you start doing the photography aspect of it immediately, or was that something you had to ease yourself into?
Well, when I kind of started cosplay, I felt as though I had a tiny advantage because I was also dead set on becoming a model in Toronto. So I kind of I did the modeling aspect for myself for a little bit, and then once the agencies kind of fell through and I didn't become that, I just used that modeling as a stepping point into my cosplay photography. I take a couple of my things now, more so now with lockdown and everything. I take my own content, but a lot of like the bigger projects I do, I always hire a photographer to do it because A, they know what they're doing, and B, it just always comes out so much better when you can hire someone that knows obviously what they're doing. And I think it just adds that that wow factor to it. So when I do cosplay content, I really like to not only just embody the character and like how they would pose and whatnot, but I also like experimenting with what a cosplay photo shoot could be. So I like to do sort of editorial kind of things with mine.
So you mentioned that you initially had an interest in, like, I guess you could say traditional modeling.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so what challenges did you encounter with modeling at the beginning, and are any of those challenges in parallel with what you encounter with cosplay?
Uh, actually, yes. So I was turned down a lot of the times because they asked me to lose weight. And back then, I wasn't any bigger than I am now. So that when you hear someone in a professional field tell you who already kind of has a little bit of body dysmorphia that you need to lose weight, it kind of sticks with you. A little bit for the rest of your life. I'm getting out of it now, but even with the cosplay things too, different characters and their outfits, if they're wearing like a bikini top and bottoms and, you don't feel comfortable in the two piece, it kind of, it fucks with you a little bit. So seeing the photos back, it's not, you see the things that other people maybe wouldn't see. So that kind of carries with you until you deal with it and resolve it. But yeah, that's kind of one of the biggest things is like seeing yourself back in photos and thinking, oh, because I don't look a certain way that I think I should look, then it's not good enough. So that's when I think a lot of people go to editing and using Photoshop to like manipulate the body. But I think that's a really common thing in the community. I don't think I'm the only one that feels that way.
And you're not the only person who I've spoken to about those issues. In fact, I've noticed that, and tell me if I'm a little bit off the mark here. A lot of cosplayers, they are making that switch from traditional modeling avenues, and they're now looking at cosplay because it does afford a bit more freedom when it comes to body style. And not only do you get to design and wear what you're comfortable with, but you don't have anyone telling you that you need to lose 10 pounds before the shoot on the weekend, or like you don't have this particular look, like you need to do this if you want to get more work. Do you think that going forward we're going to have more communities looking at alternatives to what has already been put into place so they can challenge all of those, like those body standards? Because for example, cosplay doesn't have as many of those hurdles that you have to jump over in order to be successful.
Right. I mean, I think with cosplay, it does mirror a little bit, what goes on not in cosplay. So I think like with the weight gain thing and the body standards and what you should be. I think there's a lot of advocacy that's going on right now for people of all different body sizes and shapes, which I think is great. But you're always going to get somebody on the internet, and this goes with any sort of content creator. You're always going to get somebody on the internet who doesn't like what you do, and sometimes the comments will reflect that. And there's obviously a lot of problem with blackface in the community. There's a lot of problems with photographers only shooting a certain type of cosplay model, and like all of these issues are being brought to light, which is good. But it's kind of putting that change in motion that's really going to do it. And I'm not sure if doing all these things will help you progress farther in the cosplay community. The cosplay community is literally just like any sort of other community. It's who you know, not what you know, right? Like if you can make, for instance, like you can make something that's not canon to the character or whatever, but if you have a bunch of friends that have bigger followings that retweet that or get that out there or share that, you're still going to have way more eyeballs on your work than you would if you just made like the best cosplay you've ever made. It's like award winning, but nobody else sees it. You're kind of confined to your own audience space. So I honestly think that a lot of people's hurdles feel that their audience isn't as big as they'd like it to be, or their posts don't perform that well. And I think that has a lot to do with people's mentality on if their cosplay is going to do well or not, which it shouldn't.
Let's continue on that a little bit. Could you tell us a bit about your journey with expanding your brand on online platforms?
For sure. I wasn't as into social media as I am now. I think I've been kind of building my brand Emperiam for about, I don't know, like 6 years, I'd say. Once I started being more involved in the cosplay community, meeting photographers, meeting other cosplayers, kind of doing that thing and seeing what they did with cosplay and being like, oh, I could totally do that. I want to do that. That sounds like so much fun. You just kind of get caught up into it. You learn the tips and tricks and you meet people, you share ideas, you share posts. But with the online kind of atmosphere, there's a lot that will like fuck with your brain after a while. Like I've been in it for so long that I can pinpoint and predict what posts are going to do well based on, past metrics or whatever. But just because a post does well doesn't always mean that I love that post or I love that work. Sometimes cosplayers will have to do things, especially if it's their job. If cosplay is their job, they're going to have to do things that are trendy that they may not want to do, but they know will get them the certain metrics to, afford their life. And a lot of the time, some of the posts that do really well are the posts that you don't try really hard on. So I think that depletes a lot of like energy and willingness to make the big, huge costumes, right? If like a selfie does better than a pro photo shot, that's like, oh, well then what's the point in putting all that effort in if a selfie is going to get better likes, right? Like the metrics are kind of skewing with what or how you value your cosplay.
Yeah, I find that's a problem for a lot of people within like communities where they have to put out their brand and they have to put out their image on online platforms. And it is difficult too because it seems that like even with models who have all of these amazing photographers that are doing their shoots, they could do a selfie with barely any makeup and then all of a sudden people will put that picture to them and it's like that's one of their more iconic photos. That's a photo they took after like 5 minutes after waking up out of bed. And I think there's beauty in that because it shows that like it's not just posturing. A lot of people do like just a simple regular person just like you and me who can take their camera and appreciate how they look in that period of time and they want to show the world it. That's awesome. But at the same time, like I can understand where you have 15 or 20 pieces of content that you put out, nothing hit, and that one thing that you thought was a throwaway post, that is what blows up. And then now people are kind of expecting that that content that made you popular is kind of like what you should start doing, and then you start swaying everything you do in that direction. It is a little difficult because then you're forced to play ball, but I feel like that's something a lot of people have to encounter at some point in their careers, right?
Yeah, like if you want to, I don't know. I don't feel that I've like made it online, but if that's your main goal is to do well on social media, you have to experiment with things. You know, you have to make all sorts of content and see A, what you like making, and B, what performs well. I don't know. It always puts such a bad taste in my mouth, like talking about like what performs well versus what doesn't, because it's always changing. Like the waters are always kind of changing for like what's popular or what's going to do well, because it's just the views of people change. You know, when Instagram first started, it was all pictures of food and like just little blips of like what your day was like. But now it's these, you know, I'm doing it too. I'm not saying that I'm above it because I do it. Heavily curated, and you only see the highlights of this person's life as opposed to, you know, what they're actually experiencing or what they're actually going through. So I think the main thing to remember about social media is that it is a game. Like you're playing the game, you're in it. If fame or whatever is what you're looking for, you have to do XYZ to get this to get in this way. And like it's all, you know, let it just be a game. Like don't let it take over your life. Don't let it consume you, because it's the worst feeling when that happens and you feel like you can't do anything right because you didn't get as many likes as the last post. You know, you just make things that make you happy, and then the people will come. That's it. Did I even answer your question? I feel like I tangent every time you ask me something.
No, you answered it, but I tangent
Okay.
all the time too. Don't worry. So in that case, do you find yourself nowadays spending more time on your social media and your analytics in regards to your previous posts than the specifics and details of your cosplay?
Not so much right now, but definitely before that was I was heavily invested. I made YouTube videos about it, of like what I found doing well and how you can do well on social media. And like I look back at that now, not like hating that, because like that's what I was interested in and that's what I wanted to do. But I mean, because social media is always changing and the rules are always different, and nothing is really going to stick unless you're already popular. Like you're playing basically a lottery with social media. And I think I learned that, and I was like, well, I'm not going to let someone else's stupid made up computer pattern affect my life. Like I'm going to engage with Instagram in a way that I want to engage with Instagram. I'm going to make the content that I want to make. I don't care if it does well, because I'm going to just make the things that I want to do. And I think what took me from, you know, religiously looking at Instagram, finding out what's going to make my post do well, giving away all the tips and whatever, is I made my own website. And I think every cosplayer, if you do this, and actually anybody, not just cosplayers, you need to make a space on the internet that is purely your own, to show off your own work, to make the content you want to make, post it there so that nothing can be taken away from you. Because one day Instagram could literally just close up shop and be like, see ya, and then all your shit is gone, right? So that's kind of the risk we all take with social media, is like we think it's just going to be there forever, but it's really not. So if you want to do these things and you want to keep them and have them, you know, cherished, you know, make your own space on the internet, do your own thing, make your own products, etc.
That's great advice. I think something that a lot of people, maybe because they weren't around during the Wild West days of the internet, a lot of them.
Tumbleweed.
Oh my god, the good old days, if you ask me. They don't remember that like geo sites used to be a thing, and people who were on LiveJournal or fan fiction sites, like they had their content kind of just like up in the air, just disappear, and like they were like banking their entire brand or their online persona on these particular platforms. One day IG could go down, like one day TikTok can go down. Like that's why
Hmm.
it's good, like you said, to create something of your own space, curate your own content, put out your own products. Like it's kind of annoying when you're an artist to look at everything from like the brand business perspective. But in this day and age, because of the accessibility, like anyone could do anything they want to now in a creative space. But as such, you also kind of have to play ball. Like I was saying earlier, there are certain rules that you have to abide by, or certain guidelines that it's probably a good idea for you to invest in, just so you can protect yourself and protect what your hobby and your passion is. So
Hmm. Yeah, that's totally right. Even the latest update with Instagram, kind of narrowing down on like sex worker content, right? And not letting any of that be there. So a lot of the people that do sexy cosplay, will be affected by these things. Their account will be permanently shadow banned if that's even like a real thing that Instagram does.
it
You know,
is, yeah.
you have to be not be prepared. Like it sounds like you need to get in like an internet bunker, but like you need to like think about these things, and if you want this content to be evergreen, you need to take time and make your own space for it.
Absolutely. That actually happened to a friend of mine recently. She does have an OnlyFans, and a lot of her content on IG is like related to that content.
Mhm.
But she also posts like things about her with her family. A lot of her stories is about her on vacation or with her dog. She posted one gallery of her on vacation, and someone reported like 2 of the 10 photos of her in a bathing suit. And yeah, she looked really good, but she didn't break any of the Instagram rules. Her account was purged because she had been reported several times in the past for, I guess, sexy content.
Yeah.
And for her, it was so hard because like she literally woke up and her account was gone, which means that all the contacts that she made with that page, anyone who she was like starting to schedule work with, and whoever she was communicating with through DM. Guys, by the way, don't just DM someone. Always have a secondary way of contacting them. Always. Like
Email,
that's
email always, please.
like just do it. Email makes so much sense. If you meet someone on, like I came across your content through Instagram, but
Mhm.
I also saw all of your other platforms in different ways, and I communicated with you through email. That is the best way to do something, especially if you feel or you've seen people within your space getting their content taken off the internet, because we never know what can happen, and then the last thing you want to do is have to restart from zero.
That's right. Well, and also when you email me, it just seems, depending on like what the email entails and whatever, but email seems just like more professional to me. Like your intention is for your case to have an interview, right? Like when someone DMs me on Instagram, I'm like, oh God, what? Like, what do you want? With email, it's like, oh, maybe this is an opportunity, but like, you get a lot of shitty DMs as a person on the internet, and it's not great.
Don't worry, we will come to that.
Oh no.
But for now, let's step away from like social media and cosplay for a little bit. Tell me, what are your favorite animes and what has inspired you?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I know the Attack on Titan season is out. I'm waiting for it all to be out because I need to watch it. I can't wait. I can't wait for it week by week. So I'm zip tight lip trying to avoid spoilers on that.
Okay, good.
Um, Demon Slayer is one of the more recent ones that I watched as well, and it's just so good. But my all-time favorite anime, probably to this day, is Madoka Magica.
Oh my God, you just won my heart. Wow,
Yeah, it's
wow.
it's so good because like on the outside it's that like shonen, magical girl, look at us go. But on the inside it's this dark, twisted, cute thing that's gonna steal your soul and you need to make a contract with. I was like, this is great.
I love that misdirection. Honestly, okay, so I have to be a little bit
Yeah,
honest. I am a super gatekeeper when it comes to modern day anime.
really.
I don't know. I am. Honestly, I hate's a strong word, but there's a lot of modern anime and like modern weebs and stuff I just don't like. Not to say like I think their work is bad. I just I'm an old man, so I feel like when you have Shingeki, which is such a great series, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, like there's certain like plot points and certain parts of the story I'm like, oh yeah, I remember reading that when I was 10 in this show, or I remember seeing that in that show like 6 years ago. But I'm happy these shows are blowing up. But Madoka is one of my favorite series of all time. It really did change the way of not only how I look at anime, but look at series in general.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things for me too, because I obviously grew up Sailor Moon. She was my idol. I love her still to this day. But that
Same
anime,
here.
you know, was great in its own way, but predictable and lovely for, you know, a coming of age kind of thing. But yeah, the Madoka Magica thing is just because people, I think, on the outside refer to anime, you know, as like cartoony or juvenile, and that is one of the things that anime is not. I think there's this common misconception with that, with people that aren't in the space or know about it. But yeah, Madoka just like blew my mind with everything. That was like one of the first animes that I watched after, you know, asking people like, what anime should I watch? I think I watched that one. I watched Kokoro Connect and
Nice.
Wolf's Rain. I think I watched. There's like a season of that or something.
Good series, classic.
Yeah, yeah. Neon Genesis, obviously. So those are kind of like the stepping points for me for anime. But I love magical girl shit. Like I'm not gonna deny it. I love it. It's so
My
good.
my first anime was Sailor Moon, and I think that kind of like laid down the path for who I am as a person and what series I like. And I love Sailor Moon. I wish there were more series like that because there was no boy growing up. Like back then, like boys had to watch Dragon Ball Z and girls would watch Sailor Moon. But
Yeah,
a lot of boys would be like, I watch Sailor Moon with my sister and sometimes by
yeah.
myself. There's nothing wrong with that. And I wish there were more series like that because Sailor Moon is just a very well written, awesome show that made me feel good to be a little girl.
Yeah. Well, and it wasn't even, I don't even think, besides like the cosmetic part of it, you know, with their transformations and like their skirts and stuff, but like the writing and stuff wasn't really just meant for girls though. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't like you can't be a boy and not enjoy Sailor Moon, you know? Like there
Yeah.
it was just so open and the characters like you just fall in love with them because they're all so great in their own way. And they're all cute. So
All of
like
them.
what's your deal?
I once went as Tuxedo Mask to Rebel.
Did you?
I
Oh my
swear to God, I
gosh.
did. I did. I had to take off my hat, but like I had like everything. I had like the eye mask thing going on.
Hilarious. I used to work at Rebel. Did you know that?
Did you?
Yeah, I was a go-go dancer.
No way. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So you know what? I have definitely like encountered you before, like 100%.
Really?
I was probably just way too drunk to even notice. Like, oh, he looks familiar. Let me vomit in this corner over here.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Oh,
did that. I guess ever since Rebel was a thing.
wow.
I did that for like 3 years, I think. Yeah.
Really? Okay, so I have to say, for anyone who doesn't know, Rebel is I believe it's the biggest nightclub in Canada. I might be wrong
Also,
about.
it's also where dreams go to die.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I've lost years of my life from Rebel, but it's this really great industrial feel sort of place. It's an amazing nightclub. If things ever go back to normal and you come to Toronto, visit Rebel once or twice, and maybe no more than that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like Cabana too. I think I like Cabana a little bit more. I just
Yeah,
hate the people that go to Cabana.
yeah, yeah.
So,
I'm those people. Me
I
and my
hate
friends are
you.
like, hey guys, we have to basically cosplay as the douchebag for Cabana, but it's okay.
That's yeah, actually though. Nobody and when I first went to Cabana, nobody told me that like you have to wear white. So fucking me, all I have is black clothes. So I dressed up all in black as I would, and then they're like, okay.
You're
Like
gonna
I
stand
work
out.
here, so it's fine.
Oh man, I have a friend who worked at Rebel for a little bit as a promoter. He told me a lot of horror stories, so I guess we could talk about that off cam.
Yeah.
So, tell me a little bit about the nightclub scene in Toronto. Were you a clubber at all, or?
I mean, I wasn't. No, sorry. I was about to say I wasn't a clubber, and then past me was like, good try. So no, I was a clubber. I was a little bit of a rave kid, actually.
Okay.
So I would make like the huge candy bracelets and cuffs and stuff. So that was like my creative outlet. Also, you know, partaking in extracurricular activities at festivals. Yeah, I was a big festival goer. I love that kind of stuff. And then I don't know what it was about the nightclub scene that I was like, I need to work here. I think it was just being young and being from a small town and then going to the city. And it's like, oh my gosh, I could do all these weird jobs. So that was like actually one of my first jobs in the city was like a dancer. I started off as like more of a promo girl first. And then you kind of like work your way up from promo and then you get some dance lessons and you be a dancer. So I was a dancer for a while with no real professional like dancing background. I could just move without it looking like a bad car accident. So that was good. But yeah, after you start doing it, like working in the nightclub, you don't really want to go to the nightclub for like fun anymore. So that, that kind of like ruined the club scene for me, which is fine because that stage of my life needed to end anyway.
I went through my second wave of being a club rat right before COVID happened, and honestly, I don't know. It's gonna be like maybe 2 years removed when we finally are able to go back to clubs, and I don't know if I'll still be able to be a part of that scene. It takes so much energy out of you.
It does.
It takes so much money out of your account. It takes so much
Yeah.
time. I don't know, but
Yeah.
there was a lot of great clubs in Toronto. Like I met a lot of good friends through the club scene. I miss Croc Rock, which is now closed
Oh
down.
my God, Croc Rock.
Yeah, I went to Croc Rock.
And Cake. I
Oh
think
my
Cake's
God.
on the same street.
Cake and Bar 244. Are you kidding?
R244, yes.
Oh my God. That $3 shots. Okay, sure. Go to Cake and just like listen to trashy top 40 music that hasn't changed the playlist in 3 years. Oh my God, yeah. The
Okay,
Soul
but
Show?
so did
Oh my God.
Rebel.
Yeah,
Rebel
yeah.
has the same playlist every weekend. I danced to it. I know. I was like, oh, okay, now he's gonna play Soldier Boy. Great. Okay, great. Now I need to like dance sexily to rap, which is quite hard, to be honest. Just kind of stand there and just like, oh yes, with my shorty and my hose in the club. Like it's just, yeah, I don't know.
Yo, I will say though, you dancers are extremely talented. Like, just the way you guys are able to go for so long. Do you have like shifts? Like, you switch out every hour or so? Because I'm too drunk to see any changes.
It's like 4 20-minute sets, 3 or 4 20-minute sets. So you need some stamina. You need a Red Bull to get you through.
Yeah, yeah. It gives you wings. Yep.
It does.
I hear you on that. Oh wow. So you said you danced and you like had other like interesting jobs in Toronto that you maybe wouldn't have experienced living in the city.
Mm-hmm.
What other things have you done aside from cosplay and dancing?
Oh my gosh. If we're going like back super far, I was a door-to-door salesperson for Save the Children, which is a big scam. Please don't buy into it like I did. It was one of those like multi-level marketing schemes. So it's like, yeah, they bring you in and they're like, yeah, you can make a team, and then if you could get so much money, like you could buy a Tesla. So that they get you hooked and they get you like pumped about it. And then
Is that what
I
they
think it
told
was
you?
one time that I went to someone's door because you get these sign-up sheets and you get their credit card information, blah blah blah. But she was like, oh, Save the Children, like I actually know this corporation. Like, do you know how much your CEO makes versus how much is going to these kids? And we were all conditioned with like these infographics. So like we only had these certain statistics in our head, not thinking anything else of it. And she asked me that, and I was like, I actually don't know. She's like, do you know what kind of car your CEO drives? And she was like telling me all this information about the CEO of Save the Children. I was like, I did not know he was such a dirtbag. So that's what got me out of that. So thank you to that one random woman. I should have got her name. So I did that for a while. I was a host at Moxie's for a while, and then I was also a waitress at Warehouse. And then more recently, I got into hosting and esports. I was on a TV show for that, but that stopped for me in December, which is really sad.
Sorry to hear that.
So
You know
lots of
what?
things.
Cool. Do you feel that like working in all of those jobs and doing cosplay that you can kind of like leverage and build off of all of those different jobs so you can like elevate your craft? Because I know a lot of people who do cosplay, they have jobs that are very socially minded, whether it's like you're saying sales or retail or like they do like voice acting, they're into theater or dancing, and I don't know, I feel like it's just another means of expressing yourself. Do you find that to be the case with you?
Yeah, I mean, I can bring a lot of the skills that I've learned from jobs and just from, my background and who I am as a person into cosplay. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about cosplay is that everyone is from, such different places that they can, involve other aspects of their life and put it into cosplay, whether it be talent based or makeup based or whatever. I think that's awesome. But yeah, I mean, cosplay has been more of a it's like it lays on the line of hobby and job for me, because like I have made money doing cosplay, but at the same time it's not like my primary source of income. It's very hard to make cosplay your primary source of income. So I mean, that it just makes my craft elevated based on, you know, certain traits that I have as a person, which is cool, I guess.
Nice. It's a very good way to look at it. A lot of people feel that if they're not 100% committed to whatever their passion is and they want to make it into a career, that they're like spinning their wheels. And I don't necessarily feel like that. Like I think that anything you do, especially in today's day and age, you can always leverage that into bettering yourself in what you want to do or whatever your passion is, right? So it's good to see and like hear you say that you're able to take from everything else and grow.
Yeah, well, I think with like making money and making everything like your side hustle or whatever, I think that's a very millennial way of looking at hobbies. And I think that that kind of damages our view with hobbies, because I feel personally, and I'm sure that there's other people that have experienced this as well, like I can't just have a hobby and I can't just do things unless it's making money for me. Otherwise, I'm like panicked. And I think that's like a freelancer thing, but it's also probably just a millennial thing because we're all fucking poor. I can't just enjoy things with the intention of enjoying things. Like even video games, I was like, oh, I can Twitch, I can stream, I can do this. And then, you know, with cosplay when it first started, I was like, oh, I can sell prints and merchandise and things like that. But I think it's important to like find a hobby, like whatever it is, that does not make you feel the need to make money from it. Like just do it because you like doing it, and literally keep it in that spot and never let it leave. Protect it, keep it there, and just don't feel like you need to make money from it, because I think we're all just twisted that way because, you know, capitalism is the devil. But yeah, anyway.
I feel you on that.
Light topics, woohoo!
Well, when you're stuck at home with your thoughts for so long, you tend to develop these. I feel the same way as you, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I talked, so here I go.
Oh, me too. I feel like I'm very awkward. Until I started doing like all of these interviews recently, I was like, oh wow, I love your cup. Oh man, I love your cup. Yo, that's lit.
It says Pikachu.
Where did you get that from?
I think it was like one of those really shitty like online ads.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I need to have it.
I love that. I have a New York Jets cup that I drink from because it's basically tears and pain.
Yeah.
The Jets are a horrible team and they continue to break my heart. But oh man. So what other platforms are you putting out content on, and how do you feel they compare to what you're doing on Instagram, which I guess Instagram is probably your most focused platform?
Yes. So I put content on literally too many platforms to keep track of. But Instagram is my more focused one, just because it's photo based and cosplay is mainly, you know, better in photos. But I do TikTok as well, and I have Twitter, and I used to have Patreon, but not so much anymore. I do have an OnlyFans for some cosplay and boudoir things. So that's those are my main kind of channels of content. I think that's it. Oh, YouTube. I do a little bit of YouTube. I dabble in YouTube. And then I do stream. But it's been hard streaming with my puppy, because I used to have like a good schedule. I do it every week. But now puppy's like, nah, you're on my time now. So that one's kind of gone down the drain a little bit, but hopefully when she gets older, it'll be better.
I feel you. Yeah, the puppy is a priority. Please don't be that guy who yelled at his kid on Twitch. I don't know if you saw that video recently.
No, oh no.
It came up around the weekend, this past weekend. There was this asshole, this complete idiot who was streaming, and because his internet is like a potato or like an AOL CD or some shit, while he had his kid in his lap, he's yelling at his controller, and then he tells the kid to shut up. He basically tosses the kid to the side and he yells at him and says, shut the fuck up, or something like that. And like since then his platform has been taken down. Like I think he tried to like retract on what he said, but he's basically wiped off of Twitch. I think Twitch banned him. I might be wrong on that, but like, I don't know. I hate seeing stuff like that. Like, as much as I love Twitch, I think a lot of people are forgetting that, like, you don't have to lean into a personality, but you also have to make sure your worst habits don't come through, because everyone's going to see that. And also, just don't be a dick to the people around you.
But that's kind of the beauty of Twitch, is that I think sometimes when you get someone, I'm not painting this guy as a bad guy, maybe he had a bad day, whatever, not trying to paint him any certain way, but these people who are, have these bad habits and hide them from people, it's almost great when that mask comes off and you get to see it publicly and you're like, oh, that's not good. Perhaps we should rethink this.
You had me in the first half, not gonna lie.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's like, oh, maybe, and it's better when it happens like frequently, because like a one-off, everyone has their bad days. Like I said, I'm not trying to paint this guy as a shitty father or whatever, but that's kind of a shitty move that you did. If you're playing COD or Apex or whatever, like, why don't you play Animal Crossing with your kid? You're only going to get mad when you don't get the gold ore, or like when your fishing line breaks. Like, make an island together.
That's rage-inducing, man.
Exactly.
Do you think that Twitch and TikTok is the future? A lot of people have been making the jump from YouTube to Twitch, and for good reason. I actually like the way Twitch is kind of set up right now. It's still, again, in its Wild West phase, but Twitch and TikTok, it's just a unique way to present yourself, and because there's like no real trend or like no real like set sort of rules, you can kind of do whatever you want to on TikTok and make it work, or even on Twitch.
I will disagree with you there, only because there's so much on TikTok that you cannot do. Like, obviously you can't be sexy, because that's bad, but you also can't have any sort of like, now that I'm thinking about it, it's going to sound weird, but you can't, like with cosplay, you have like fake blood and like gore and stuff and special effects makeup, that you can't do that on TikTok unless you have like a warning on it or whatever. Like TikTok will totally get that away. There can't be any like props or anything that look like weapons in it. I think with TikTok and Twitch, it's not so much that they are the future, but I think that live streaming is definitely going to be more prominent and put into the limelight instead of just static content, because people like to watch people be people. How many times do I say people in a sentence? Probably a lot. Take a shot. But like, people like to see people as they are and not edited and, raw. And that's how we, form connections with these people. And that's how we like to view content, like video content always does better than photo content, no matter how good the photo is. It's just how we're, our dinosaur lizard brains are function. Like, we like things that move, and we like seeing people for what we think they are, for who they are. So I think live streaming is definitely going to be more focused. People are going to do more live content, but TikTok and in Twitch, they could be now's trend, and then something else will come along later. Like, it's not always good to put all your eggs in one basket.
Nice. Okay. Can you tell us 5 of your favorite cosplays that you've done in the past, and 2 cosplays that you're looking forward to doing?
Yes. Okay. So it's so hard for me to think because I've done so many.
Take your time if you need it. It's okay.
I think maybe not so much in like the content putting out, but just because it has a personal connection to me. Finishing Tifa Lockhart was like one of my best. I feel like I did that one really well. Tifa just means like the world to me.
My 10-year-old self thanks you for that one.
You're welcome. I also have Aerith coming down the pipeline as well. So doing both the girls.
Nice.
That one, and I did a Sleeping Beauty armor a while ago, which was like totally my own design, because they didn't have a Gladzy K, which is the key. Gladzy K is usually the art form that cosplayers use to, or the art person that cosplayers use to like build their stuff, because she has patterns, but she didn't have a Sleeping Beauty one. So I was like, oh, I'll just make my own. So that one was really cool. And what was that, 2? God, that was only 2. 5? Oh my goodness. So many. I'm honestly drawing such a big blank. I did Ivy pretty recently too. Yes. And like that costume wasn't spectacular, but the photos that came out of it was really spectacular. And I think, that's more so my thing with cosplay is like how the photos come out afterwards, because that's just what I like to see. You can fix anything, or you can make anything look like anything in a photo. It doesn't have to be perfect. Anyways, we're going on a tangent again. Tifa, Sleeping Beauty. I made a big prop for Star Guardian Jana, which is really fun, which is now in the garbage because it was terrible, but that one was really fun. And who else have I done? Oh, Celine. I did Celine from Underworld. Again, not really like a backbreaker cosplay thing, but the photos that came out of that, just like, it's so cool to look at something and go, that's me. That's what it looks like. So Celine was really cool to do. 3. Okay, 2 more. You can do it, Emily. You can do it. Diva's always fun to be. Obviously I have a thing for Diva. She was really fun. And okay, 1 more. I can do this. It's so hard. I can't even remember. Well, I have Zelda coming through. I'm going to try to do Twilight Princess Zelda. Wow. I've been literally working on it forever, and I don't know if it's ever going to be done, but one day. And then in the background here, there's like Evelyn's lashers all pretty much done, which is the new one coming down the pipeline. So yeah, lots of big plans, lots of shit for me to do, I guess, now thinking about it.
No, it sounds like you've been keeping very busy, and I appreciate what you do. Like, you are a cosplayer that I've always appreciated cosplayers that really embody and they live within their character, and that's the vibe I get from when I see your content. Like, you're just someone who's very passionate and very talented with what you do, and you also work with a lot of great photographers. I've seen some of the other cosplayers that you've associated with, Mackenzie Smith, for example. Like, I am also a huge fan of her work. Her
and I are best friends in real life. So.
Yeah, I kind of figured. Yeah. I didn't know you guys were like friends. I just thought maybe because a lot of Toronto cosplayers, they collaborate with each other. But when I was like going through more of your photos, and I'm like, oh, I guess you guys must be like friends or sisters or something, because
yes,
it seems like you guys are attached at the hip. But no,
yeah.
do you think the community is very friendly and open to collaboration, or is it something that you guys you made that friendship outside of cosplay?
No, that was the reason we became friends, actually, was cosplay. She actually worked at Rebel. That's where I met her, was actually Rebel, because she's the professional dancer. And she just mentioned the word cosplay, and my ears like perked up. I was like, hello? Someone else cosplays in this? Like, what? So that was our introduction to each other. And yeah, no, the cosplay scene is super collaborative. If you want to work with someone, you just kind of reach out to them, and like, people always want to work together. Maybe not people always, that's just kind of like pigeonholing, but yeah, I think that's the beauty of cosplay, is it's so collaborative, and it's meant to be shared. It's meant to be, attention grabbing. It's meant to be grand. Like, just do it. Just have fun. It's great.
Great. Do you have any advice for any up-and-coming cosplayers, or maybe people who are a little shy towards it, but they really would like to cosplay after COVID?
Practice now. Like, if you have disposable income, or if you have some money that you can, spend on cosplay, do it like right now. Do it in your house. There's no better feeling than like getting a costume in the mail and like being like, oh my gosh, should I try it on like right now? And then looking in the mirror and being like, yes, this is it. This is what I want to look like. This is the character. Like, just do it now if it's something that you're, afraid to do in front of people, and take lots of pictures, and don't get caught up with the metrics. Like, the social media aspect of it is something that will come with time and practice and, a little bit of elbow grease, but just focus on the parts of cosplay that you love. Don't focus on the things that you think are going to get you followers or fame or whatever, because it looks so pretty on the outside, but in the inside, it's like, there's no point to it. Like, nobody's happier because they have a bigger audience, so just have fun with it. That's the core. That's the foundation, I think.
Nice. And one last question. Do you have any idea of what the cosplay scene and the convention scene is going to look like when everything starts up. I know earlier we said that it's going to be crazy and we're all going to be excited and there'll be events all the time,
Mhm.
but realistically speaking, I don't know if it's going to get back to what we saw in like 2018 and 2019, which some people would say is like right now was the peak of cosplay. Do you think it's going to take some time for the scene to reset, or are we just going to keep on growing as it comes back?
I think it's going to be maybe a little stagnant at first. I mean, as much as I've been in lockdown and been inside and want to spend time with like all of these people, there's also now that part of me that like wants to wait a little bit before kind of like reintroducing myself to all these people, because now I'm almost like a germaphobe. I'm like, ew, don't touch me. Like, please always wear a mask and stay 6 feet away from me to interact. Like, there's that part of me now, but it's going to be, it might be slow at the start, but there's obviously, we've been stuck inside forever, that we have all this like pent up energy that we need to release and do that. But it's going to boil down to what's going to be the safest. I don't want to do any risks anymore, because I don't want to put anybody in danger, and I don't want to put myself in danger. So, I mean, cosplay is not worth dying over, real talk. So do whatever is going to be the safest for now, and then party it up later, I guess. I'm an adult now, so that's I feel like that's good advice to give.
Let me live by my own advice.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say thank you so much. This was a wonderful interview. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me and talk to the rest of us about your passion, and you are extremely good at it. And I look forward to seeing everything else that you put out now and when things go back to normal.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I actually really enjoyed this interview too. So I can't wait to see what you do in your future endeavors, and I hope this all works out for you. You're a really great person.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Me and Chikorita, we're gonna go at it hard.
Hell yeah, do it. You be Chikorita, and then I'll be. Oh no, my light's gonna fall. Boop.
Bam, 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 bam. All right, there we go. Oh wow. Do you have anything that you'd like to plug?
Gosh. Not really. Just be a kind person, and maybe follow me on Instagram if you want. I'm not going to force you, but do it.
You have great content, so I'm sure when people come to your page, they're going to fall for everything that you do.
Hopefully.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you too.
All right. Take care.